you start.
Yeah, I'm gonna address Karen's aha moment comment or question, not about the publication. 1995, I was at a workshop in Hawaii where the minister in charge of planning for American Samoa had asked the question of some climate scientists. It was an El Nino conference, had questions of the climate scientists. What is it that you can tell us about this coming season? And a very esteemed modeler, climate modeler, said, Mr. Minister, I'm afraid that what we know about our science, we can't provide information that is going to be useful to you. At which point the minister said, my friend, Mr. Professor, please don't tell me what might be useful to me. Please just tell me what you know and I'll decide if it's useful. Now that maybe wasn't an aha moment, it's more like a duh moment. But I think it's really important for us to not underestimate what can be used. It's our job to do the best that we possibly can in doing what we do best. And it's, let's let the other folks decide if that's useful.
Okay, thank you. Specific answers to specific questions, Gernot?
Well, there was a very specific question to me, and I tried to answer it in a few seconds. In disciplinary research, we have a process that's peer-reviewed checking of results. That process has deficits, but nobody has so far come up with a better process. So that's done. It can be improved. But my statement was on interdisciplinary research. And I don't have the answer to that because I think it's our job to think about quality control and processes. How is interdisciplinary research to be valued? And this is not an easy question, and I don't actually have the answer, but I was asked to tell the questions that really concern me, and this one concerns me, really.
All right, thanks very much. Nicole?
Yes, also, I've been told to be an old boy. I really think that it is indeed important to connect with civil society and other parts of the world, and that the scientific knowledge needs to live itself also as diverse. And when I hear things like, what do we know enough, who is such we? And I think that we should really indeed connect with civil society and be more confident that really scientific knowledge is used by every stakeholder in a different manner. And in a sense, it is a sort of secularization of the status of scientific knowledge within society that we should really aim at.
Okay, yes, please.
Again, coming back to this publication question, I think I don't really have an answer, but I would like to pose another question. Have we really, as a social scientist or human dimensional community, tried hard enough to really approach those two specific journals? And then have we really tried hard enough to frame our questions and the research interesting enough so that we can change whatever views the two particular journals are holding? I think this is an open question.
Okay. There was a question about solar panels, I remember. Has anyone got an answer to that specific one? Solar panels, I think, from our colleague?
Oh, I think, I mean, you're addressing an important issue, but I ask myself whether this is a scientific question or simply a political one of who has the power to decide whether you can use solar panels or not. I don't think it can be answered scientifically.
Carlo.
Well, I can say something about solar panel, but I will say it only if you allow me to make my main point.
You can make your main point briefly and then talk about solar panels.
Wow, thank you. So, we are talking a lot about knowledge as if the purpose of inquiry was to find knowledge. I'm not so sure. More interested in wisdom, for one. Wisdom shows in the ability to ask questions. I think that training people to ask questions they would not have asked before may be a very good thing to do in some situations. I want to give you one specific example. I mentioned this socio-ecological systems concept. We are beyond that, thanks in particular to Lynn Ostrom's work in our community, but also to many other people. I think it's fair to say that we understand first, without setting prices on critical resources, we'll never get out of that mess. And carbon is the first example where we learned the lesson. Water is going to be a next one, and I'm not saying that this is going to be simple, but I'm going to give you a third example in 30 seconds. But we also know that relying only on the price mechanism will simply not work, that we need to combine price incentives with social norms of a much more complex kind. Now, that's not knowledge that enables you to mechanically, blindly solve the problem at hand. It's the kind of background that enables you to ask questions. What is the price of the critical resource here? What are the social norms that are relevant here? And this may make for better management of risks, of challenges, of various things. That was my main point.
And the
On
solar
solar
panels?
panels, very briefly, I'm always ashamed by the fact that in research on global change and sustainability, questions of aesthetics play nearly no role. We keep talking as if the problem of climate change was one of the world ending. To me, the problem of climate change, I'm Swiss, is one of the Alps having no glaciers anymore. And I'm challenging everybody, go to the natural scientist who really cares about that, get to know the person, and you find out aesthetic reasons are very, very strong reasons for nearly all the people who do honest work in that area. And of course, we have very little work on the aesthetics of cities and the aesthetics of sustainable technology. Most sustainable technology, so-called, is ugly. And that's bad. We should ask the people from Apple computers to go and do solar panels. There might be something coming out of it.
All right.
I get 10% from Steve Jobs.
Kate, I think you wanted a final thought.
Thank you.
Well, sorry, a comment, I should say.
Yes, I mean, I think that as Carlo has just articulated, I mean, for me, the response to both the kind of the solar panel question and some of the other questions is, again, that we need to understand the value systems that underpin society, because that's actually about people's fundamental values. But we also, I think, and responding both to solar panels and to Roberto's question, is we need to understand the policy process. I mean, very much, I think, as Roger outlined earlier on, that actually how we as social scientists should engage with policy is actually as a kind of research topic, and understanding these processes of who articulates, who has the power, and so on, you know, to actually influence these decisions. But I also just wanted to very quickly say something about the aha moments in social science, because actually I think there are aha moments, but I don't think that they are kind of played out in the same way perhaps as they are in the natural sciences. And so there are clearly, you know, there are clearly ways in which social science has changed the way people think about problems. And I mean, Steve Morgan, I don't know, might like this, but there's a really nice bit on the ESRC website, which is our research council, Economic and Social Research Council in the UK, which actually shows how bits of ESRC-funded research, I assume they're all funded by the ESRC, have actually had these profound sort of impacts. So, for example, you know, Amartya Sen's work on famines, I mean, not only changed the way in which people understood famines, a whole new sort of theoretical and conceptual, you know, sort of perception, but it also changed policy in very important ways. So I think there are those examples, but yes, they're not in those journals necessarily.
Okay, thank you very much. Any final comment?
Final comment? You allowed me to?
Yes, I will, and that'll be it.
Short, does it work? Yeah, short announcement with Carlo, who is chair of the scientific committee, Sander van der Looy is member of it. We are organizing in Brussels a conference to which you are all convened in May from 26 to 28 on the title Sustainable Development, a Challenge for European Research. And we really want to investigate there how EU-funded research, social science and humanities, energy, materials contribute to sustainability, and the different ways through which research contribute to sustainability. So you are all welcome. If you Google the title of the conference, Sustainable Development, a Challenge for European Research, you are right on the registration site.
Okay, thank you very much.